Hello again, my friends. As usual, a lot going on around here these days. Quite a few people over time were asking me to talk about the Marlin, and I'm not sure exactly why I haven't made more Marlin videos. So I thought I'll go in the vault and take out the Marlin, and it was a good thing I did. So I have the Marlin 444 here, and we'll look at it a little more closely in a minute, but next to the Marlins are the Winchesters, and I have a Winchester 64A, and like I said, this is a model 444, and then here I have a 336A, which is kind of similar if you think about it with the model 64 and model 64A Winchester, just because of the pistol grip and the curved lever. Anyhow, when I took these rifles out, I don't know how exactly to word it, but of all the rifles that I own, these Winchesters and these Marlins, when you take them out, it's something. I mean, it's like the guns are champing at the bit to go hunting. There's just something about them that gives you that feeling, which is a good feeling. Anyhow, so we've got the 444, we've got the 336A. And I'll tell you another thing. I had a lot of people writing about the straight pull bolt actions from Europe, and magnificent weapons. But a few people commented if the Europeans are interested in speed of fire, and they're not allowed to use pump actions or semi-autos depending on jurisdiction, why don't they use lever actions? The Americans found out about that a long time ago. And so I don't have an answer to that question other than I've been to Europe more than once, and I rarely see anybody using a Marlin. And from people writing me in Norway and Sweden and so forth, Scandinavian countries, I don't think they're popular up there either. Who knows why that is? It's probably just a cultural thing, and I guess that's by definition valid. But over here we like lever actions. I think they're fantastic. They're not as fast as people think they are. They're not semi-automatic speed, although they can be, especially the old Winchesters. Anyhow, this is the 444, and when I took these guns out, I remembered having a couple of guests, really nice guys, two of them, came over, and they were quite different in personality. And somehow the conversation drifted to a discussion about Marlins. And one gentleman was absolutely convinced that the 444 Marlin was model 1895, and that the action was different from the 336. Now, I'll take a historical footnote just for fun. But of course there are lots of other channels that cover all that better than I can. But these are based on, the 336 is based on the 1893. And actually I think the inventor, or one of the inventors of the 1893, was Lewis Hepburn. I only know that name from my falling block, which is Remington Hepburn. One of my favorite falling blocks. I haven't made a video on it yet. I will. Anyway, that's a historical footnote. But these two fellows get into this, I have to say, really ugly conversation, and I'm listening, and one fellow is saying that these actions, the 336 and the 444, which the other fellow insists is the 1895, are the same, and the other guy says they're totally different. I hope I told that part straight. Anyhow, at that time, in the vault in the room next door, I had both rifles. But the fellow that had such conviction, I mean, this guy had real belief, and like I said, the conversation was ugly. I guess I could have just gotten up and brought the rifles out, and they could have seen that this is not a different action. It's been modified to accommodate the 444, which is a bigger cartridge. And by the way, the 4570 is the 336 as well. It's just a bigger ejection port, and where possible the manufacturers just use the same platform, whether it's a car or a rifle. or a van based on a car, or a car based on a van, and so on. Anyhow, I didn't say anything just because I thought when there's so much conviction and emotion in the room, I don't know if it would be embarrassing if I dug out the rifles, but somebody wouldn't have been happy anyway. So I just left it, and my assumption is that with time the truth comes out, and hopefully the guy who believed that this rifle is so different from this one in terms of the action, maybe he finds that out on his own someday somewhere in a bookstore or whatever. Anyhow, I always remember that unbelievable conflict, verbal conflict over these guns. I hope that's not a boring story to tell. Anyway, getting back to the utility of these, of course, the people that are writing me that the Marlin is better than the Winchester because you can put a scope on it, well, there's the answer. I mean, I put tally bases and tally rings and side eject. It's convenient. I looked this up just before filming. 3.5 million of these puppies made, and only the Winchester Model 94. This isn't a 94, this is the 64A, but it's the same action. And you can see that the Winchester is just slightly, I don't know what to put it, slicker, leaner. It doesn't have the lobe for the lever down here. And because it's top eject, it just has that handiness. So I forget how many million of these have been made, but it's an awful lot of rifles. And I guess they stopped making them at home and now make them in Japan, but everybody says they're the same or better, although I guess more expensive. And you know, just because manufacturer goes somewhere else for a while doesn't mean that manufacturer can't return home. So hopefully that'll happen, although nobody's holding their breath. Anyway, here's the 444. This is a good one to show you. So it's marked on the barrel. I just checked, model 444. This one was made in the 70s. I didn't go to the trouble of dating these or determining the date of manufacture, but I think it's safe to say it was in the 70s. And it has the Monte Carlo stock, which is kind of a neat feature. As you can see, somebody had a scope on it. Other than that, it's a straight grip with a straight lever, and the 336A has the Monte Carlo comb as well, and a pistol grip and a curved lever. So it's, I would have to say this one is maybe, well, it depends what you want, right? A lot of guys like the straight grip. I don't mind a little bit of a pistol grip, just because there is that first pull down on most lever actions, just that initial pull down, and I find that with this wrist position, but that could be because of the way my wrists work, I don't know. Anyhow, fantastic rifle, and like I said, champing at the bit to go deer hunting. They're just wonderful, and of course, if I didn't say it already, this is a 30-30. So to all of you that wrote about the Marlin, I totally agree. Fantastic rifles. I doubt that they'll ever be eclipsed by anything. Doesn't matter how a modern rifle, you know, looks and sells with polymer stocks and what have you. You can't replace history, and Marlin has everything going for it. And I do like the side eject port, it's true. But you know, if I'm sitting somewhere leaning against a tree and I'm expecting a whitetail to pop out at 100 or 150 yards, and there's snow, there's nothing wrong with a Model 94 with iron sights, and there can't be, or else there wouldn't be millions of them out there. And I think I told you before, I like the 64 with the slightly longer barrel and pistol grip stock, and it's a slick action. Super design, Browning of course, as usual. Anyhow, so I hope that covers it, and I hope I said the right words and didn't make it seem as if the Winchester is the be all and end all, because the Marlin is right up there. Just fantastic rifle compared to anything. So don't want to start repeating myself. Hope I did it justice. Sorry I didn't have a 4570 on the table. I don't have any right now, just the 444. These are hard to find, these ones with a straight grip and a Monte Carlo, and they kind of have a, I don't know, some kind of maybe even African look. That's probably not the right word, but there's something really attractive about this particular model. So that's it. Thanks very much for watching, and please take a moment to subscribe, and we'll be filming some Patreon videos over the next couple of days. We cover different things there that I don't put on the main channel that you might like. And I guess that's about it. So thank you very much, and we'll see you next time. Take care.